Hey guys, welcome to Sky World. The world is big enough for both the United States and China to thrive, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said Sunday, as she wrapped up a visit to Beijing aimed at stabilizing the relationship between the world's two largest economies. Yellen said she had direct, substantive, and productive talks with China's new economic leadership, including Premier Li Qiang and Pan Gongsheng, the newly appointed Communist Party chief of China's central bank. No one visit will solve our challenges overnight. But I expect that this trip will help build a resilient and productive channel of communication, Yellen told a news conference in Beijing. Broadly speaking, I believe that my bilateral meetings, which totaled about 10 hours over 2 days, served as a step forward in our effort to put the US-China relationship on surer footing. Yellen's trip marked the second visit by a U.S. cabinet official to the Chinese capital in a matter of weeks as Washington seeks to steer relations with Beijing back on course after months of inflamed tensions. In recent months, while pushing to resume high-level diplomatic talks, the U.S. has imposed sanctions on Chinese companies, successfully pushed allies in Japan and the Netherlands to restrict sales of advanced semiconductors to China and rallied other advanced economies to counter Beijing's economic coercion. But Yellen reiterated that the United States is not seeking to decouple from China, which she said would be disastrous for both countries and destabilizing for the world, and virtually impossible to undertake. There is an important distinction between decoupling, on the one hand, and on the other hand, diversifying critical supply chains or taking targeted national security actions, she said. She said the United States would continue to take targeted actions to protect its own national security interests and those of its allies, while making sure these actions are transparent, narrowly scoped and targeted to clear objectives. Following Yellen's meeting with China's Vice Premier He Life on Saturday, a report from the official Xinhua news agency appeared to suggest the Chinese side took issue with this approach. China believes that generalizing national security is not conducive to normal economic and trade exchanges, it said. The Chinese side has expressed concerns about U.S. sanctions and restrictive measures against China. Targeted restrictions. Yellen said no final decision has been made to limit outbound investments by U.S. companies in China. When asked about potential upcoming foreign investment curbs that might be implemented by Washington, I was able to explain to my Chinese counterparts that if we do implement such restrictions, that we will do so in a transparent way, she said, adding any new curbs or sanctions would be highly targeted and clearly directed narrowly at a few sectors where we have specific national security concerns. I want to allay their fears that we would do something that would have broad-based impacts on the Chinese economy. That's not the case. That's not the intention, she said. The Biden administration is preparing new rules that could restrict U.S. investment in certain sectors in China, according to multiple media reports including from the Wall Street Journal and Politico.